Hey guys, so in today's video, I just wanted to do a breakdown of the two trades that I took this morning. As you can see, I posted both trades in my Telegram channel. So it was one on EU, which was a sell, and another one on GU, which was also a sell. Both of these trades ended up banking me a total of $2,500. And that was because I've reduced risk coming into the new week. I've had a solid run this month, where for the past 2 weeks I've been in the positive, so I didn't want to over leverage myself and get too greedy, so I did lower the risk today, but the trades were extremely beautiful. So let's break those down today. But before I do any of that, guys, I just wanted to mention that down here in these comment sections there are a lot of scammers, so please don't fall for any scams. The only official links that I have are right here on my link tree, which will show you my Instagram, my TikTok, my Telegram community, my YouTube channel, and everything like that. So please don't fall for any of these scams. Make sure you only click the official link down in the description. And also, if you guys do want a broker recommendation, I have put this broker down here. I did have a meeting with them whilst I was out in Dubai, so they are reputable. I have met with them in person, and I've never had any issues with any withdrawals, good spreads, and good commissions. Having said all of that though, if you do enjoy this video, guys, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video to anyone who you think will enjoy it. Cool, so let's get straight into the trade breakdown for today. So first things first, as we're all aware, with this strategy, what we're trying to do is we're trying to wait for a market structure shift after we have a sweep of either the Asia highs or the Asia lows. So the first thing that we do is we mark out the Asia high and the Asia low. So we've marked those out. And then the second thing we do is we find out our directional bias. So for me, looking at the charts today, we've got something along this nature. So we've got a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So now we're stuck in between this trading range right here. So anything in the middle right here is just complex structure. So because it's complex structure and we don't have a solid directional bias until we either get a break of this or a break of this, we are really open to buys or sells, right? So we've marked out our Asia high and we marked out our Asia low, and now we're anticipating price to either break this or break this before we look for a market structure shift to get in with an entry, right? So now we simply just drop down to the 1 minute and wait for price to give us something. So as we can see, price wasn't doing all that much up until this point. And after this point, price then swept the liquidity on this side of the Asia highs. And once we've got this sweep, I had this marked out as my most prominent low. So the way I was anticipating price was that we had this, 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 and this, right? So let's see what price does next. It then goes and it breaks this low right here. So now that it's broken this low, what we've got is, let's clean up the chart. So we've got a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, break of this higher low to give us a lower low. So now we're anticipating price to come up somewhere here to give us a lower high before giving us a lower low, right? So it's just basic market structure, and that is a market structure shift. So I had this marked out, and once I saw that we had this break right here, I then identified my fair value gap. And as you can see, we had this fair value gap right here in between this wick and this wick where we had price displacement. There was also another fair value gap up here, but it was very, very, very small, and it was at the extreme. So rather than wait for that, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to mark this out, put my entry right here, and see what happens. So then I had my sell limit at the beginning of this fair value gap with my stop loss just above this high, and my targets being the opposing liquidity, which was the Asia lows. So now let's take a look at what happened. So we play price on, we get tapped in, and after that, price just dumps. Absolutely melted. And this was a beautiful 2 to 2.5 risk to reward. So that's 1 to 2.25 risk to reward to kickstart the week. So that is EU. That's how I was seeing it. So we've had our higher time frame bias, which was nothing. And then when we drop down to the 1 minute, we can see that we've had a market structure shift right here. We've identified a fair value gap, and we've entered off of that fair value gap with stops above the high and targets at the opposing liquidity. Cool. So that was my trade on EU, which ended up giving me a solid $1,710 in profit. Moving on, I also did take a GU trade today. Now, this was something new. This isn't a pair that I trade frequently. And a lot of you guys explained to me that you guys trade it quite often and you have good success with GU. So I thought, you know what? Let me add it to my arsenal. I did do a little bit of backtesting over the weekend and found that GU is a very good pair to trade this strategy on. So I did take this trade. So I thought I'd add it into today's video. Cool. So when I came onto the charts in the morning, I first identified my directional bias. Now this is again similar to EU where it got a little bit tricky. So we've got this trading range. So we've got this high and this low. Now anything in between for me is just simply complex structure. So I don't class this as anything. I don't class this as anything. It's all just complex structure. So for me to have a significant directional bias, I want to see this high or this low being taken. Until one of those things happen, anything in the middle, I don't really care about, right? So what I did do, however, is identify a fair value gap right here. Because I know price is trading all the way down here, but because we've had such a big push to the downside, if we take a fib, we know that price usually likes to come into the premium or discounted areas, right? So the discounted areas is above the 50%. So we've got this fair value gap over here, and I was just anticipating that price would potentially push up a little bit into this fair value gap before giving us lower price action. Now, if that didn't happen and this fair value gap didn't hold, then essentially price was just going to continue going higher, right? So the directional bias is kind of there. We're trading in complex structure. We don't really know what's going on. So the best thing to do is keep your mind open and be open to buys or sells, which is exactly what I did this morning. So again, as always, we mark out our Asia high and our Asia low. And now we're waiting for price to take either side of liquidity before giving us a market structure shift. So let's play price on and see what happens. So there it is. Price has now swept the Asia highs. So now we're waiting for a market structure shift. Okay. So let's mark out our structure to see where we are. So we've got a high high, high low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we get a break of this higher low, giving us a lower low. So now we're anticipating a lower high before a continuation to the downside, right? So let's take a look at this a little bit closer. So this is how I was anticipating price right here. So we've got higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low. All right. So let me just mark this out for you guys. So this is where I was looking at the market structure shift. And then once we got this, I had my fair value gap identified right here between this and this price. There we go. So that's where I had my entry with stops above the high and the targets being the opposing liquidity, right? So let's play price on and see what happens. So we get tagged in and we very nearly get taken out. Now this was very close to taking us out. I know some of you guys may have had some crazy spreads from your brokers, so you may not have been able to stay in this trade. That's why if you do want a good broker, feel free to sign up using my broker recommendation right here. But aside from that, I was still in this trade. Luckily, I didn't get taken out. And then if we play price on, as you can see, that also melted. Just like EU, GU also just melted. And this was a solid 1 to 6 risk to reward trade. So had you taken both EU and GU with full risk, risking 1%, that would have given you a solid 9% gain on the account for a Monday. Now, if that isn't enough, I don't know what is, because if I had taken this with full risk, I would have stopped trading for the rest of the week. I mean, 9%, what more do you want? That's just insane, right? But regardless of the fact, this was a absolutely classic trade. We can see how price came into a area of interest, gave us the sweep of the Asia highs with a nice market structure shift into a nice fair value gap before targeting opposing liquidity. If you play price on, look how nice the TP was, because as soon as it got hit, after a while, price did decide to reverse and make its way back up. So this is what I mean, guys. You do have to make sure that you understand where you're targeting. And overall, this trade was absolutely amazing alongside EU. So I hope you guys enjoyed both of these trades today. I know a lot of you guys sent me a message on Telegram letting me know that you got into this trade, which is great to see, because it's great to see that you guys are actually following the strategy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.